Hey beloved, Krista Pettiford here. Today I want to share with you a prophetic word of encouragement and just some of my reflections on what the resurrection has meant for me. It really has in this season meant beauty for ashes, that God has taken the ashes and the broken things of my life and truly redeemed, restored, given beauty, and is still working through those things. But today, during worship at church, as one of the songs came on about the resurrection power of Christ, I just saw an image, a picture. The Lord brought to mind a picture of me that I had taken and posted on social media, and I'll get more into that, but there was so much in what he showed me. The Lord often speaks to me in images. But before I get into this prophetic word and encouragement, I'd like to ask you to subscribe if you are new here, and to give this a thumbs up at the end if it blessed you. Welcome to my channel, and welcome back to my channel if you've already subscribed here or you have watch videos here. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe. Okay, so if you need encouragement, and you're believing God for something and you are waiting for him and you're praying and you're believing him, then this is where you come to get prophetic encouragement. This is where you come to get prophetic words. This is where you come for prayer and to be encouraged in your faith, to continue to believe and trust God. Now let's get into this. By the way, happy Resurrection Sunday. Now I'm going to go ahead and get into this message. I hope I didn't talk too long, but let's get into it. My. Today I was worshiping, as I said, and as I was worshiping, I'm seeing that this is a little light. As I was worshiping, the Lord brought me back to a picture in my mind. He gave me a picture in my mind of a picture I took outside my condo when I first moved into my downsized space where I'm at now. And in that picture, I had on a wonderful outfit. I love to get dresses. Something that I am able to do is put outfits together. And so I wouldn't call myself a fashionista, but I do love to put outfits together. And so I had on an outfit, and my roommate at the time took a picture of me. I say roommate, but she rented a room for me. But I like to honor people and give them that space. And so anyway, she had taken a picture of me, and she used to take pictures of me in my clothes. And the Lord brought to mind how he had spoken to me prophetically, and what I'm going to share about what he spoke to me is what I believe he's saying to you, to those of you who have gone through a hard season. He spoke to me probably in 2020, 21, and he said out of Psalm 66, "For you have tested us, O God. You have refined us as silver is refined. You brought us into the net. You laid affliction on our backs. You have caused men to ride over our heads. We went through the fire and through the flood, but you brought us out into a wealthy place, a rich place of fulfillment." And I had gone through a season of 7 very difficult years. And I knew that it was time for me to come out. And I was saying, God, I need to come out of this. And he spoke to me through these verses. And he said, I'm going to bring you out. And it took a year from that date, a year and some from that date, for me to be out of a lot of what was going on. And there were so many things, but those were kind of the final steps. And in that, I was in this new season, and actually I'm not sure that I was out of the other season in the picture the image that he brought to my mind. But my point is, in that picture, he began to allow me to see my heart at that time. And sometimes we can look so beautiful on the outside, we can look so well put together, but there's a lot going on. And I was a picture of me before Sunday, on a Sunday before church. And what I realized is that I was going to church alone. That's what he reminded me. There was a season when all my children went to church with me. There was a season when we did things together as a family all the time. And I felt like Ruth or Naomi in this last season. The Lord, I went out full. I started this journey full of life and love and all the things that make life beautiful, wonderful, and good. And then, as time and chance would happen, that time and chance happens to all of us, something happened, just like with Naomi, and things began to fall apart. And in that season, and in this season, as my life began to be sifted like wheat, the way that Jesus told Peter, Peter, the devil has desired to sift you as wheat, but I have prayed for you that your faith fail not. And when you are converted, go back and strengthen your brethren. I was being sifted. My life was breaking apart, and there was nothing I could do about it. And in that picture, I was surrendered to the season, trusting God, having had spent some years of it kicking, the beginning years of it kicking and screaming and trying to hold on to things that were falling apart. My children going a different way. What I thought was going to come of the marriage I waited so long to be restored. All these different things that had fallen apart. I had sold my home and all these things. And I don't mean to sadden it, but in that moment, sometimes God reminded me of how I just saw myself alone, having started full, but in that picture I was empty. No matter what I looked like, no matter that I had the joy of the Lord, which was my strength, no matter how well put together I was, the things that mattered most to me were falling apart in that season. I was waiting and I was believing God for them to come back. And then I thought about today being in a new season in a new house of worship after 22 years, serving with my youngest daughter, and I went to lunch with my niece today, that, had really not been in touch, or she lives in the same city, but she was really close to my mom, but not close to everybody else. And so pulling her in because the Lord put her on my heart, and how God is restoring. And even though things didn't work out the way I hoped and I prayed they would, and my children are still on their own journey in certain areas of their lives, God is restoring. He's doing so much. And I remember him prophesying this to me. And I remember at the end of the last year, he told me, I'm going to restore you. And I have it written in my journey. I'm going to restore your ministry. I'm going to restore your call. He began to tell me that he was going to restore things that had been lost, that the enemy tried to steal. That is divine recovery, that he was going to recover those things. He was going to bring restoration. And I wrote it down. And the things that are happening now in my life, regarding just ministry and doors opening, and some things I want to share that I can't share yet, that I'll be sharing in the coming weeks, that God is doing amazing things. God is faithful to keep his word. And so what I say on my reflection of the resurrection and my prophetic word of encouragement to you is that God is in the business of divine recovery. His resurrection power is resurrecting me, and it's resurrecting my life. It's giving beauty for ashes, and the oil of joy for mourning. And those things that we mourn over, those things that we lose, because he lives, because he is the resurrection and the life. He can restore, he can redeem, he can call back to life those things which are dead. He calls those things that be not as though they were. And who can but open, and who can but close, and who can but answer when he calls, when he speaks. And so I say to you that God, if you have something that is dead and stinking like Lazarus in your life, if you had a dream that didn't come to pass like you thought, if you had, this is not for you. If everything is going well and you don't need it, maybe tuck it away for later, or share it with somebody who is going through something. But if you have been through something, or if you're going through something, know that in due season, that there's a set time that God will recover those things that you lost. It may not look like you thought it would look. It may not happen in the time or in the way that you thought it would happen, but God can restore, and I'm a witness to that. And that is the resurrection power of Jesus Christ in my life at work right now. That which died, that which I had to lay down, that which I've had to surrender, God is keeping. He said He is a keeper of those things that we give to Him, that He is faithful, that those things that we entrust to Him, He is faithful until the day of Jesus Christ to keep that which has been committed unto Him. And so whatever you commit onto Jesus, just know that He is faithful and that He sees what you're going through, especially for you that are going through family problems and struggles. I just want you to know and understand that God can restore, that God will reconcile. And sometimes you just have to surrender it all and walk out. I was determined in that season after doing all the kicking and screaming and trying and fasting and praying. And then I had to settle my soul and just know that God, I had to wait on God to do it. And when I was able to do that, and I stopped asking God, why is this happening to me? And I started asking Him, what do you want me to get out of this season? What are you doing in this season? My perspective changed when I started asking the right questions. And then I could see the beauty, the blessings, the purpose, and the lessons that God had ordained for me. And I was able to take that season, almost like Joseph did. I was able to take that season, that hard season, that difficult season, the season I didn't think I deserved, almost like Naomi did, somebody else had died, somebody else had made choices that affected her life. But when she said, okay, God, I'm going to go back to Bethlehem and I'm going to make the best of it, God brought Ruth into her life, or she was already in her life, but God laid upon Ruth's heart by His grace, divine influence on the heart, to go with her, and He restored her, not in the way that she thought. Joseph was restored. He had that vision way ahead of time, but then God brought the vision to pass in a way that He would have never imagined. And so, but it was when they settled into their season, like He told the children of Israel when they were in exile. He said, build houses. And I'm not telling you to settle for less. I'm saying when you've done all that you know to do, simply stand and don't stop your life. Keep moving. Keep on enjoying the present season. And don't miss out on what is happening in your life in this season, waiting for something that you cannot control. And before you know it, as you keep crossing over and keep moving forward with God and keep pressing into God and taking in your present season and enjoying the life that you have now, regardless of the things that you don't have in it right now. When you do that, before you know it, God will begin to restore you. God will, and it may not look like you thought it would, but it will be like, this is that. Oh God, you are restoring. Oh God, this is what I prayed for. Oh God, this is what you spoke to me. Even when I didn't pray, you said this to me. And you'll see that He's doing things in your life. And so I just release God's restoration power over you, the resurrection power, the restoration power, the power to be reconciled with in relationships unto God and to man. I release divine recovery in your life, because He is faithful to recover everything that the enemy stole. Like He told David, David asked, should I go or should I stay, when all of his things were taken, when he went out to fight and he came back and all his things were taken. And the Lord said, go, for you will recover all. It's not something that we can give ourselves. God has to give us the green light. God has to say, you're going to recover all. And in this season, in this year, prophetically speaking, it is a year of divine recovery. So if you go after it in the Spirit and you trust God, not fighting in your own strength, but trusting God and going forward, trusting Him to deliver on His word as only He can do, then you will recover all. And it may not happen in the 12 months. What are we in the 4th month already? It may not happen all in 2023, 3. But I believe that divine recovery has started, and it's going to continue to flow into the years to come until everything that God has promised you is fulfilled in completion. That which the enemy meant for evil, God is going to turn around for your good. And you're not going to look the part, you're going to be the part. And back to my picture, the image the Lord showed me, I wasn't pretending, but that's who I was. That's all I had. And it was a place of going on just by myself. If none go with me, I was in a season of my kids are out the house. I'm an empty nester. They're not living the lives I thought they would. Marriage didn't work out. Almost got married. That didn't work out. Dated one person after marriage. That didn't work out. Like God, I'm stripped down. I had a full life with all the things that, if you just met me in this season, you wouldn't know how full my life was prior, with my kids always around me and all the holidays and all the things, because one of my kids are older and a lot of people's children are younger than mine that I know. And so I've gone through the seasons of basketball and football and softball and volleyball and track and even college, and doing all those things before Facebook and YouTube and all that stuff was really popular, and even I was on it. And in this season, when your adult children are supposed to be gathered around your table, they have been scattered, but they're coming back. And God reminded me of that as I'm serving alongside my daughter, and all the different things. And they're not in a horrible place. They could be in a better place. But that's the beauty of it, is that life doesn't always happen the way that we hope it would. And for some of you, it does. And God bless you. But for those of you who life has time and chance has happened to you, things have changed the trajectory of your life, and you find it going a different way. And I'm very transparent to a point on this channel. God can put it back together. That's what I want you to know, that his resurrection power can restore your life in a way that you may not think he can, or you wouldn't have imagined. And he'll come a different way, but he will come. I believe he will come like the rain. And so God bless you. I hope that you are encouraged. And let me know in the comments if you made it through all of this. Let me know where you are experiencing God's divine resurrection power, restoration power, reconciliation power, recovery power, either all four or one of those, which is really the same thing. The power to redeem, to restore, to raise to life again that which was dead, to bring beauty for ashes. Let me know how God is working in your life, or how you're praying for him to work, because you might be in a season like I was not too long ago, where everything looked good, but you were trusting, everything looked dead, but you were trusting God to make good on his word. And you might be in a season like I am now, at the beginning of recovery, where you're still trusting God, but you're seeing him work his wonders and miracles in your life every day. Or you might have fully recovered everything. Let me know where you're at and what season you're in right now, and how I can pray for you. And if you need help, if you need to figure out what you're supposed to be focusing on in this season, you can download my free guide, 5 clarifying questions for every season of life, that will help you get focused and know what God has called you to do, so you can be intentional about what you give your time and attention to, and you can experience and capture the beauty, blessings, purpose, and lessons that God has ordained for you. God bless you. Happy Resurrection Sunday. And I pray that you have a blessed week, and that you continue to count the Omer through this Passover to Pentecost season. God bless you.